Good afternoon and welcome to Common Ground. My name is Beth Young and this is...
Hi, I'm Susan Clancy. Welcome to Common Ground in Newtown, our conversation table where every voice matters. Today our guest is John Boccuzzi. He is a longtime Newtown resident, retired teacher and founder of Friends of the Seniors of Newtown, Friends of Newtown Seniors, and from what I hear, all around good guy. So John, what's your story?
Well, I retired from education. I was in education for 41 years. I did 30 years of classroom teaching, which is unusual. I then went into administration and did that for about 12 years, and at the same time did a lot of consulting work. I got a chance to travel to schools all over the place, and it was a phenomenal career. I just had a wonderful time. Then I left there, I retired, and I looked at some things, you know, possibly running some programs and interviewed and talked with some people, but I didn't really find anything that was terribly interesting to me until I started thinking about working with people who were in my age group and older. And I, you know, started, I even looked at some positions actually, which was interesting because the attitude of an awful lot of people at that time who were in the industry was, oh, you don't want to do this. And I was like, wow.
Don't you get that as teachers too? Like so many teachers.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. So I didn't go the route of, you know, working for somebody. I wasn't really impressed with a lot of the people I talked with. I just didn't think they had it together. And then I, did you?
I was going to say, were you looking for something in particular with someone to work with or a program to set up?
I was really looking for something that would be a challenge, would be interesting, and would use all of the kinds of skills that I built up over many years of working with people of every age, because I taught, you know, from elementary school, because I was a science coordinator in a couple of districts. I actually worked with kids of every age. And then I also taught undergraduate school for a number of universities around as an adjunct. And then I taught graduate courses. So I, you know, met with people of all ages, and not to mention going out on the consulting work and doing large presentations and things. So I really had a lot of exposure to working with people. So I wanted to do something that would make a difference, that would use those skills, that would keep me challenged as I went through. Well, certainly I found it because I think this is an area of great need. There's a lot of misunderstanding around aging, and that's one of the things that we're trying to tackle.
In what way? So when you say that you're trying to tackle that, what does that look like? What is that?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is that some years back in 2017, I became interested in a program that the World Health Organization had started, which was livable communities. What does a livable community look like, you know, particularly for older adults? And they were, of course, taking a world view. AARP got a hold of it and kind of made it more of a United States view, you know, so it's a very different emphasis in things, because in some countries, you know, they're talking about, you know, getting basic water to people and things like that. So we got interested in that. I had a couple of friends, local people, Kurt Symes and Tracy Brady, and we sat around and we would talk about the need in this area, and that a way that we probably could best tackle it, because I joined the Commission on Aging, I was on there, But governments are governments, and I think there is a lot of good, honest work going on. But they didn't have the kind of freedom and flexibility that a nonprofit would give us. So we really decided we needed to form a nonprofit. We did, and it still exists. We were sanctioned by the IRS in 2016, so next year is our 10th anniversary. I'm hoping.
Congratulations!
Yeah, I'm hoping to have
Big
a
deal.
celebration of that, but we'll see how that goes. So we tackled the idea of a livable community, and we had a very large meeting of like almost 100 people at one of the high schools here. The high school here in town, and broke people into 10 committees. I'm sorry, 8 committees, because there's 8 domains, as they call them, in the AARP program. And it's things like, outdoor spaces, employment, various things that housing.
How did everyone react to that session?
It was really heartening, because we got a great turnout, and the people really settled down to work. I mean, the talkbacks at the end told the whole story. And from that, we have a guy in our organization, Ned Simpson, who took basically piles of notes from these various groups and put it together into objectives and goals and objectives. And so we had this long list of goals and objectives. And this is where, of course, there was some controversy, and still is controversy. Some people feel, you take a couple of goals and you do that, and my feeling is, you look at them all, because you never know when there's going to be an opportunity. While you're working on this, you suddenly, wow, we could do that, and you can tackle a lot of different things if you're, you're ready for it, the prepared mind, as science says,
What was your marketing ploy? How did you get people to come in for this? How did you advertise it or market
Yeah,
it?
we fortunately the Bee has been a wonderful partner all through this, and it's so. I think Newtown is so lucky to have a local newspaper. They're disappearing everywhere. Even the little ones that were left around the state have been vacuumed up by bigger organizations. The Bee is totally independent and, focuses on Newtown, and that's basically what they do. So we use that. We, of course, became more and more familiar with the internet. I had some people that really gave me some guidance on that, and we set up the constant contact, and, I started building an email list. And that's the most difficult thing, because people are very hesitant to give out their emails, and it's crazy times. You don't know who to trust with what,
Yeah.
But we slowly, now we have a base of people that we contact that's over 900, so
Whoa.
it's got a nice
That's
reach.
incredible.
And
All from Newtown?
all from Newtown, yeah. It's there's a few from surrounding towns, but for
Right.
the most part, the bulk is Newtown.
How many seniors are in Newtown?
Well, it depends on where you break off the number for senior. If you go down as far as 55, age 55, it's like 9,000. It's a lot of people.
Wow.
If you get up to 65, you're at something like 6,000 people.
Wow.
So we're a significant population
Yeah, that
here
is.
in town, certainly, and growing. It's the only demographic that is growing, actually, and that's true basically across the country. The whole country is getting older.
Right.
And we're among, I think, somewhere near the 7th oldest of the states. It changes, so I really can't keep track of
But
it.
that's up there.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Connecticut is an old state. And the result of that was that, we put this plan together. I met with the town department heads and told them about, the various aspects, because all of them are part of, some of it is outdoor spaces, putting in sidewalks, so the engineering department, the public work, everybody's kind of involved, parks department, you name it, you know, it's
That's a
involved.
good question for you. Did younger people sign up to participate in building any of this?
In that, oh yeah, definitely. We had a very mixed population for that that large gathering that started the whole thing.
Right.
Then we had two more after that, which were skewed more toward the older demographic. But the first one was quite mixed.
That's great.
And we had, then the follow-ups were like maybe 60 or so people. And we tried to, you know, narrow down the scope of the goals and objectives, et cetera. So that program has been going on, and under that, you know, the livable community, we've done things like, you know, pursued housing, transportation. We now finally have a volunteer transportation group. It's run by Bev. I knew this would happen. I draw blanks on names. It's terrible. Bev Bennett.
Bennett.
Yeah.
It always comes to you.
Yeah, that's it. And she's been doing a great job with that, and also with our chore service, which, I mean, we've done things like replace entire roofs on a house, put in a ramp, things that, you know, the town can't do. I mean, it's just not within the scope of a town to do that kind of thing.
But it's life-changing.
Yeah,
for the person
absolutely.
who
I mean,
sees that.
it was one case when Bev came to me and she said, "John, I went to this house and a woman wanted me to put in, you know, a grab bar or something, and there's water running down the wall because it was raining." And so, you know, we ended up putting a roof on the thing, you know. So it kind of just keeps growing as far as the needs are. And you know, and then also to do some simple things like, you know, change light bulbs. I mean, I'll put up grab bars, which is not all that small a task because you got to do it properly, or someone's going to get hurt.
Sounds like such a strong building of community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm fortunate in that we've built a real working board. They've taken, each of them is taking responsibility for some aspect that they pursue in depth, you know. So it really has become a great team here in Newtown. And I think we're very proud of, you know, what we've done.
You should be. You should be.
We also have a lot of social things going on, because one of the things, of course, that's really problematic is isolation. You know, as people get older, and there's no transportation in this town. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah.
That's being worked on now, fortunately. We got some grants. We helped write some grants. And the Social Services Department is putting together an actual, like, little transportation center at the senior center, and they've hired a person to be a transportation coordinator.
At the community center?
Right at the senior center.
That's great.
Yeah, the senior center. So I think it's going to make a huge difference once that's really up and running. The hard thing is to find drivers. That's what they're trying to do right now. So
let me just ask you a question about that, because it's something that you've talked about before, is the loneliness and the isolation. Is there, how do you work with that? I mean, how are you able to get people to come out?
There's a number of ways. One of the things is that, for instance, my wife is in charge of what we call our friendship club, or, you know, at any rate, she sends out cards on a regular basis. If she hears somebody's ill, or someone has had an event, you know, it could be something good, it could be something bad, it could be, we get a card out to them. She visits some people, some on a fairly regular basis. We've got other people doing the same thing within our organization. They're visiting people in our neighborhood, et cetera. So that's one way that we're tackling it. We also run social events and try to bring people in.
You pack them in.
It's been, I think, quite successful. We now have monthly social events, actually. Janice Garton is a person in charge of that. Bev Bennett does the big events. Bev is doing a lot of things. I mean, she's doing
yeah.
chores, she's doing the transportation, and she also does the events with a committee. I mean, of course, she's
Right.
got a committee of people.
It's so heartwarming. Do you know if other towns are doing similar types of things?
You know, we've talked with some towns. They've come to us and asked, you know, for advice on, you know, how did you get started? You know, how did you do that? So, yeah, I think that towns are, you know, realizing that there is a real need and that there are solutions beyond what the government can do.
Exactly.
So, you know, these other nonprofits are starting to spring up
Make it
around us.
happen,
And it's great. And we went to others for advice also because, for instance, New Milford had a great chore service. So we went up there and talked with them before we implemented ours. Bev and I went up there and met with them. We met with somebody up in northern part of the county up there, Litchfield County. But of course, the big difference is they have paid staff, and ours is all volunteer. I said to Bev,
We can keep it that way.
yeah, let's keep it that way. So we're I think doing some remarkable things with an all volunteer.
most certainly.
Absolutely.
Let me
We've
ask you,
been-
if I
Yep.
could ask you, what would be your what do you see happening moving forward, or how do you grow this out? How do you and again get more and more people involved?
Well, we're doing right now a big event that's called Timeless Newtown, Embracing Every Generation. And it's truly what we're trying to do. We
I
want
love
to
that.
bring together people of all ages, and we're using the discussion point of ageism. Because ageism affects every age. I mean, you can write off people because oh, he's young. What does he know? You know, or you can say, oh, that old guy. You know. So we're good at that. You know, I think as unfortunately it's something built into people that you know they like to put everybody in little boxes. You know, and identify them in some way. And in reality, one of the things that drives me nuts is when they talk about the generations, you know, Generation Z, Generation this, Generation that. And there could be nothing more stupid, frankly. I mean, there's no other word for it. Because to take a whole group of people who happen to be born sometime within a 20-year span and find commonalities is like totally ridiculous.
I agree.
Absolutely,
I
totally
totally agree.
ridiculous.
It's just putting a label on everything.
Yeah, exactly, and we love that.
And then
We
it
love
becomes a
labels.
silo.
Yeah, exactly. And silos is a problem. I mean, I think that we've become very siloed as a society. You know, particularly with you know everybody kind of climbing into their cell phones. You know. We need to really get people talking again and interacting again in relaxed ways. And that's part of what we're trying to do with this whole idea of Timeless Newtown, is that we do want to embrace every generation. We do want the generations to communicate with each other and learn from each other. And particularly, we're using ageism as a sort of a center point because that's definitely a commonality. You know, there are some commonalities. One commonality of all people is
the death and
we're all
taxes.
getting older. You know,
Exactly.
doesn't matter. We all do it differently, and that's something that I really try to drive home. Is that you know when we say you're aging, don't jump to some stereotype or whatever. Every person ages in a very different way.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you a question about that because we were talking about fear earlier, and I wonder if fear is eradicated in this environment because it seems like such a safety net.
It would be great if we could.
Right.
I mean, because I think fear is a very powerful driver of behavior, and an awful lot of people do really fear death. which obviously is the end of ageism. I mean, you know, it's just absolute that everybody's going to die. I mean, if you can't accept that, you really got to kind of slow down and think for a little bit. So that's something that all of us are going to face, and we're all in the process of aging. You're not going to eventually face aging. You are aging. You know, everyone is, and you're changing, and which is, I think, wonderful. You know, every stage of life. I mean, I think back. I'm doing a lot of writing right now, sort of self-centered writing, and I'm looking back at every stage of my life, and each one of them had some just wonderful things about them, you know. And I feel sorry for people who are locked into some age, you know, like they peaked out at high school. You know?
Do you think any of those conversations help people have better perspective about the process at all?
I hope so. Yeah. I really do. And we're bringing this book. We've purchased 1,000 copies of Ageism Unmasked by Tracy Gendron, Dr. Tracy Gendron. And it's a very interesting book because it talks about the things that we're talking about right now, that the universality of aging, but at the same time the individuality of how you age, and what it means, and getting rid of stereotypes and getting rid of the negatives around when we look at different age groups, you know. I think this book can be a jumping point for some really great conversations. So right now,
and these are free at the.
Yeah, these are free. They're being given out at the library. I set up a table at the community center and gave out a bunch there. We gave them out at the senior center. We still have more to give out, but we want to get them into as many hands as we possibly can. And Tracy Gendron, the author, is going to be here September 18th at Edmond Town Hall.
September 18th, perfect.
Yep, at 6:30. And by the way, you can go on, it's nice and easy to remember, friendsofnewtownseniors.org. And there's information there about all of the activities and various initiatives that we have going on, the social events. So it's friendsofnewtownseniors.org. I mean, it can't be simpler.
I'm so glad
than
you put that out there, because I'm sure that will open some eyes too. People will be
I hope so. I hope so.
I definitely think so.
Yeah. So this is going on, and we also, you know, we found a children's book which does a pretty good job. A kid's book about aging, ageism. It's become, it's kind of a weird company. They just got sold, and unfortunately they're not going to be reprinting the book until 2026. I was going to buy more of them. I can't even buy them because they're not going to print them until 2026. But we do have some, and we're hoping that people will take those and read them with kids.
With kids, yeah. That's a great
and
idea.
they can be read at all different ages together with adults and children, or I've had some adults tell me they enjoyed reading this better than this because this gets quite technical. You know?
I bet.
So,
I love this conversation so much. Can you come back to the show?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. I'd love to come back.
Well, thank you for coming today. It's been a really, really nice time. Really nice time, and a lot of information, and just how special what you do is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I really appreciate hearing that. And remember, of course, it's a whole organization, and if you go on the site, you'll see who we are and how we're organized, etc.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
and
for
I'm going to go
me.
get myself one of those
there
books.
You go.
There you go.
And thanks for joining. If you heard anything that sparked something in you today, go out and do something. Join a group, volunteer, help your neighbor, and we'll see you next time.